Hello boys and girls, this is Mr. So. Welcome back for another lesson of biology. Today we are going through lesson 58, muscles. Before you start watching the video, remember to like and subscribe my channel and also share the video to your classmates. Let's start. Muscles, they made up around 40% of our body weight. There are different types of muscles. The muscles which involve in the movement, they are attached to our skeleton. We call them the skeletal muscles. 骨骼肌. Our skeletal muscle is attached to the bone by a structure called the tendon. Tendon 筋腱, it is very tough and inelastic, 冇彈性嘅. It helps to attach the muscles to the bones. Skeletal muscle, it is made up of muscle fibers, 肌肉纖維. Muscle fibers, they are actually one muscle cell. And in each of the muscle cell, you can find many nucleus in there. The muscle cells, they are very long. If you cut open a muscle and look at it under the microscope, you can see the muscle fibers. These represents one muscle cell, and in one muscle cells, you can find many nucleus, more than one. After knowing the basic structure of muscles, let's see how the skeleton, joints, and muscles work together to bring about a movement. We know that muscle contraction causes a movement. For example, when your arm muscles contract, your forearm lift, 前臂舉起. But how exactly can muscle contraction cause the forearm to lift? Let's take a look. Right now, I'm trying to use a red circle to circle the muscles. You have to know that muscles, they are connected to the bones by a structure called the tendons. And tendons, they are very inelastic. When muscle contraction occurs, the muscles will shorten during contraction. Let's write it down. The muscles shorten during contraction. If the muscle becomes shorter now after contraction, it is going to cause a pulling force from the lower part up. And this pulling force can be transmitted by the tendon. So the tendon can transmit the pulling force by the muscle contraction, which lifts up your forearm, 前臂. When your muscles contract, your muscles will shorten during the muscles contraction. The tendon will help to try to transmit the pulling force. And this causes the forearm to raise up. This causes the bending of the arm. There are different types of muscles in your body, and there are different lengths of tendon in your body as well. There are very long tendons attaching the finger bone to the forearm muscles. Now, on the next picture, let's take a look at how long those tendons could be. When your forearm muscles contract, this contraction force will be transmitted by the long tendon. This pulling force will be transmitted by the long tendon in your arm like this. Each of the tendons helps to transmit the pulling force from the muscle contraction in the forearm. The long tendon in your forearm will transmit the pulling force from the forearm muscles contraction to your finger. For the second part of this lesson, let's take a look at how the different muscles works or contracts to bring about a movement. Let's take a look at the muscles involved when you're trying to bend your arm. When you are trying to lift an object, your biceps, 二頭肌, it will contract. This causes the biceps to become shorter, so the biceps now shorten. Since it's shortened, it will transmit the pulling force through the tendon to bend the arm upwards. The muscles which contracts to bend the arm, we put it into the group of flexor, 屈肌. When the biceps muscles in the front contracts to bend the arm, the triceps muscles, 三頭肌 at the back, it will always relax. These two muscles, they work oppositely. When one muscles contract, the other muscles always relax. Let's take a look at the muscles involved when you are trying to strengthen your arm. When you are trying to strengthen the arm, your triceps muscles, 三頭肌, it will contract to make the triceps shorter. So now the triceps shorten. When the triceps contract, the pulling force by the muscle contraction will be transmitted by the tendon. This helps to pull the arm downwards. We call this strengthening the arm. The muscles which contracts to strengthen the arm, we put it into the group of extensor, 伸肌. When the triceps muscles at the back contracts to strengthen the arm, the biceps muscles in the front, 二頭肌, it will always relax. They work oppositely. Since the muscles they work in pairs, when one contract, the other relax, we call these muscles opposing muscles, or you can call it the antagonistic muscles. And they can be separated into two groups, the flexor, 屈肌, and the extensor, 伸肌. Let's take a look at the question in your classwork 17.2. Let's take a look at what happens to the biceps and triceps when you try to bend your arm. When you try to bend your arm, your biceps, it contracts. So that the muscles now, it becomes shorter. While for the triceps, it relaxes. With a shorter biceps, the contraction force, the pulling force, can be transmitted by the tendon to the forearm. So now the forearm bends upward. We can conclude that the bicep, it must be a flexor because when it contracts, the limb is bent. What happens if you try to strengthen your arm? It will be opposite story. Now, your biceps, it will relax so that the muscles become long and thin, but for the triceps, it will contract and the muscles become shorter. The pulling force by the muscle contraction can be transmitted by the tendon. It helps to strengthen the forearm. The conclusion is triceps is an extensor because when it contracts, the limbs is strengthened. The following diagram shows a human leg. There are 4 groups of muscles on the human leg. Can you identify them and tell whether they are a flexor or an extensor? For the muscles in the front of the leg, it is actually an extensor because when the muscles contract, it strengthens the leg. Therefore, it must be an extensor. For the muscles behind at the back of the leg, when the muscles contract, it will transmit the pulling force by the tendon and cause the legs to bend to the back. So this one, it must be a flexor. For the muscles in the front of the lower leg, when it tries to contract, it will transmit the pulling force and pulls the feet upwards. This bends the feet. Therefore, this one, it must be the flexor. For the muscles at the back of the lower leg, when the muscles contract, it will cause the feet to bend downwards and strengthen the feet. Therefore, the muscles at the back of the lower leg, it must be an extensor. Can you please tell me how you can maintain the posture on the left? If the girl would like to bend her lower leg, she has to contract her muscle number 5 so that the lower leg will bend up. So muscle 5, it must be the flexor. While for muscle 2, it will just relax and do nothing. If the girl, she would like to strengthen her feet, which muscles should contract? She should contract her muscle 4 so that It helps to strengthen her feet. So contraction of muscle 4. Muscle 4, it must be an extensor. While for muscle 3, it will relax. Which muscles should contract or relax when she is maintaining the posture on the left? Let's consider the right leg. If she is bending the lower leg, she must be contracting muscle number 5. Because when muscle number 5 contracts, the leg is bent. Muscle number 5, it must be a flexor. While for muscle number 2, it relaxes. It does not do anything. If the female, she would like to bend her feet, which muscles should contract? She should contract muscle number 3. Because when muscle number 3 contracts, it bends the feet upward. Therefore, muscles number 3, it must be a flexor. While for the other muscles, number 4, which is an opposing muscle, it should not do anything. It relaxes. For the muscles involved to maintain the posture on the left, please do it on your own. Identify the flexor and the extensor. Please take a look at the MCQ on your textbook, page 20. Our bones act like the levers. Gonggon. There is a lever principle of movement to explain how you move your arms. Let's take a look. The arms is very much like the lever system. The weight of the bones is equals to the load in the lever system. The joint is equals to the fulcrum in the lever system, 基點, while for the muscles contraction force is equals to the effort in the lever system. The advantage of designing your hand just like the lever system is that a small movement in the effort will lead to a great movement of the load. So therefore, that means a short contraction in the biceps will lead to a great movement in the forearm. This is the advantage. That's it for the video about the muscles. I will see you in the next lesson. Bye bye.